Welcome to Teabaggers, the podcast where golf meets a whole new level of attitude. I'm Dale Smedley, co-founder of Golf Gods, and I'm here to bring you behind the scenes of the brand, the sport, and the people who make golf more than just a game.
That's right. If you're here for stuffy country club talk, you might be in the wrong place. I'm Sean Trevelyan, mostly referred to as Bear, the co-founder of Golf Gods. And if you love golf and don't take life too seriously, then grab a drink, kick back, and join us for some stories, laughs, and maybe a few hot takes.
In this podcast, we're digging into all things Golf Gods, from the crazy idea that started it all to the wins, the struggles, and everything in between. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.
So whether you're a weekend warrior or just here for the banter, welcome to Teabaggers, where golf is life, but not too serious.
Let's tee it up. Teabaggers, episode 8. Welcome. We've got a special edition today, Sean. We've got our first ever guest.
Yep, excited for this one, mate.
With no further ado, let me do my introduction to this special human. Named high school All-American, former pick 8 of the Major League Baseball draft of 1999 to the Pittsburgh Pirates, the godfather of World Long Drive, social media icon, and all-round good guy, Bobby Bradley!
Yeah. And one really, really good golfer.
Welcome, mate. How are you?
I'm good. Just hanging out in South Florida. I miss you, boys. I miss you. A lot.
Nah, very good. Well, thanks for coming on the Teabaggers podcast. You are the very first guest, so very new to us. I think this one's going to explode the internet with you on board. But we've got a few questions for you. I'm sure the family at home want to get to know you a bit better. So let's roll straight into it.
I'm ready.
So off the top, Bobby, we ran that you're a former pick 8 of the Major League Baseball. Tell me what baseball was like to you growing up and what led to it being a top 10 draft pick.
Well, I got started early. My dad got me into baseball when I was 4 years old, and just kind of climb the ladder. You start at T-ball, then you go to coach pitch, then you go to kid pitch, and then the games get a little bit more competitive. And then by my junior year, I had a tournament out in California, and some reporter from the USA Today came up to me, and he's like, "You're really good at pitching." Speaking of that, this kid's going to be in the big leagues too. This guy's my son. He's a good boy. You be quiet now. Dad's working.
Here he is.
But a reporter from the USA Today came up to me and he's like, "You're going to be a top 5 pick in the Major League draft." And I had no idea what he was talking about because I didn't really have anybody on my team that had played in professional baseball before me. And then the following year, my senior year, I got drafted as the 8th overall pick by the Pittsburgh Pirates. That was a pretty cool experience. And then, unfortunately, I had a bunch of injuries. I had 5 surgeries and permanent nerve damage in my pitching hand and got into golf after that. But I kind of played golf my entire life. So getting into long drive was kind of easy. Just swing hard and hit a golf ball as far as you can.
So keeping on the baseball sort of stuff, what was the wage like in 99 for a top 10 pick?
I got $2.25 million. So the worst part about it was that the government took $920,000. So they took
taxes.
It's like I worked my ass off for like 13 years and then they just take 40%. So yeah, that wasn't very fun. That sucked.
So give me a bit of a rundown. The baseball career obviously didn't last as long as you want. What happened and why did you not go on for a big, massive career?
Well, I ended up having, you can't even see all the surgeries. I had Tommy John, I had carpal tunnel, I had thoracic outlet, I had my rib removed. I had 4 circumcisions, and that 4th one got me, and I had to retire after that one. So, it was really bad. Sorry, ladies, I'm just kidding.
It's always the 4th one.
Because like I said, you guys, I'll brag about you guys. It's been fun to watch you guys grow over the years, and to see the support of all the guys that run these, meme accounts and what have you. It's just we support everybody. And to see your article not too long ago where you guys $27 million in business, it's tip of the cap, man. It's I'm proud of you boys. Fun.
Thank you very much. This podcast is not about us. This is about you, Bobby. So let's keep digging in.
Now, so you've always been a pitcher. Do you have any claim to fame striking out any big name baseballers?
Yeah, my best pitch was my curveball. So in 2000, it was rated the best curveball in all of baseball. I was fortunate enough to go to the All-Star game. It was called the Future Stars game. It was the game before the All-Star game. But I blew out my elbow 3 days before that, but I still went to the game. But it was close to $1 billion in athletes that were just on that team alone. But I faced some really good hitters along the way. I mean, probably the best teammate that I played with was Jose Batista. he played in the big leagues for a really long time, made over $100 million in contracts, but threw against guys like Ryan Howard, David Wright. My son's pizza's done. So we don't want to burn the pizza. It's very expensive $2 pizza. That's what I'm feeding this kid tonight. Instead of filet mignons and caviar.
Go feed your son.
Give me 1 second here. Guys like David Wright, Ryan Howard, Curtis Granderson had a really good career. Guys you might not have heard of, but Ryan Howard hit a lot of home runs, and I feel like he might have been 1 for 12 off with me with 10 strikeouts. But
Nice.
The one hit he got went about 700 feet. He just threw a fastball in, he just went the other way. Unfortunately, I just felt like my career was injury plagued over the years. So, but it's a part of the game, and that going into it, and thank God for golf. I didn't really have a plan B. I was like, what am I going to do? Thankfully, I was good at poker, so I played poker for a really long time, and I still do. But the golf industry has been good.
Good. So tell us quickly about that draft year. Who else from that 1999 top 10 went on to big things?
Well, the first pick was Josh Hamilton. So Hamilton played in the big leagues for a long time. And then Josh Beckett was the second overall pick. He had 2 World Series titles. One of my good friends, Brett Myers, I spoke to him a couple days ago. He was giving me shit for throwing with my dad and my son the one day about my son's mechanics, and my dad, whatever. Brett played in the big leagues for a long time, won a World Series. You had Barry Zito, which was the 9th overall pick. He played for a long time and signed for over $100 million over his career. Ben Sheets was good, but I would say the best player in that draft was Albert Pujols. Pujols had the best career out of everybody. So, and he was a later draft that year. Didn't get to face him.
Yeah, awesome. So obviously baseball being your main sport growing up, when did you realise you were actually okay at golf?
Well, I played golf my entire life. I won a lot of junior events, and funny enough, there was a tournament called the Sazali Classic back in, I think it was 1990, and I was they had a junior tournament, and it was like a team pro event, and I ended up winning the Sazali Junior Classic, and Johnny Miller actually handed me the trophy. So when I won, so that was kind of cool. That was really cool. And then, I always hustling people in the locker room. I got some really funny stories too about golf and baseball, and we'll talk about that one now. So I was in Major League camp, maybe like 2003 or 4, and the manager was Lloyd McClendon. And me and my buddy Bobby Kingsbury, we were playing on an off day, and I get to hole number 3, and I see the manager, the bench coach's son, and the hitting coach, and they're out in the fairway, and I'm like, oh man, hopefully they let us go through. And we sit there and they see us and they don't let us go through on hole number 3. Then hole number 4 comes and they don't let us go. Hole number 5 is a short par 3. They don't let us go. And then when we get to number 6, it was like a 365-yard par 4, but it was like a little bit of a dog leg left over water. So I had to hit it about 320. And I told Kingsbury, I'm like, dude, fuck these guys. I'm like, I'm going to hit him. I was going to hit into him. And he's like, Bobby, don't do it. Do not do it. And I'm like, whatever, I'm going to hit anyways. And, long story short, the second I hit that golf ball, I'm like, oh shit, I yell 4 as loud as I can. And the bench coach is Pete McCannon, and I missed Pete McCannon's foot on the green by about this far. And these guys go nuts. They are dropping. What can I say on here? Can I say the F word?
Go for it.
Yeah. My son's got headphones on. I have him on headphones. Okay. I'm not a bad father, I promise. But they are so mad at me. And they go the fuck around us, whatever. So the next day I'm throwing, it's called PFP, pitchers fielding practice, or practice for pitchers, whatever you want to call it. And McClendon's like, Bradley, get your ass over here. So I run over to the manager. He goes, don't you ever fucking hit a golf ball into us. You go around us next time. He's like, you damn near killed McCannon. You almost killed McCannon. His son wanted to kick your ass. I'm like, I'd have kicked his ass. I'd have kicked all your asses. Like, they all knew that I talk shit. They all knew I talk shit and I didn't care. Yeah. Like, I never cared. Like, I was always that guy you talk shit to and we're like, it's not even worth talking to Bobby because it doesn't matter. Like, he doesn't care. And he's like, you do that again, whatever. And I run back to the mound. He goes, hey, he's like, what kind of driver you got? He's like, you hit the shit out of that ball, man. I want the same fucking driver. So, I ended up not giving, it was a Tiger Woods driver. It was the old Nike head, but that was kind of a fun one. So yeah, the moral of the story is that I was hustling people in spring training to see if I could hit it farther than everybody. So getting into lawn drive was just, that was easy.
Just a given.
Yeah, nice one. So let's talk about long drive a bit, Bobby. 16 appearances in the World Long Drive Championships. Got to be a record, doesn't it?
No, it's not. No, actually, one of my good friends that won the World Championships in 2007, Mike Dobbin, he had his 20th year this year. So
there you go.
You know, he's big Mike Dobbin, great dude.
Are you done, or are you still going to compete?
Good player too. I mean, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I think I put in the just for men for the beard, but it would be the following year. I would be in the senior division. I'd be 45. So, I mean, I might compete, but I feel like I had a good run. But these kids are unbelievable. I mean, it's just, you know, you sponsored Bobby Ray, and, you know, Bobby Ray is a really, really good hitter. But then there's guys, I mean, he's fast too. He's like a 220 guy. But then you got guys that are like Berkshire and others that are like mid 230s, 240s. It's just a different game right now. Like in baseball terms, like, I threw 96. These kids are throwing 105, 106. Yeah. It's just a different game. Yep. They're really good.
Tell us about some favorite memories competing in the World Long Drive. Any funny stories we can hear?
We have a lot of funny stories with Long Drive. I mean, I think the best stories are always us doing these corporate and charity events on the road. I mean, I don't even know where to start. That's such a loaded question. But I mean, you know, for me, the World Championships were great. Like when I did so many exhibitions that it's almost like I just wanted to go to the World Championships, and it was kind of like a victory lap. Show up, have some fun. But in 2017, I made the finals, the TV rounds, the round of 16, the finals 16, and then I went up against Justin James, who at that time was the number one hitter in the world. And Justin got me by about 12 yards, and he embarrassed me in front of my entire family and friends and my son, who was 2 months old. My son doesn't even want to talk to me anymore. It's like he's so embarrassed, But just, no, you're fine. But I'm kidding, you know. But it's more of like the exhibitions, because that's really where a lot of these lawn drivers make all their money. Yeah. You know, like you get hired to do these corporate, charity, celebrity outings, and I mean it's a full-time job. Like I started in 2009 full-time, and by 2011 I was doing 100 plus events a year, and then by like right before COVID, I think the year before, they did 125 events. So that's really where Lawn Drive, like you go out and people really enjoy it when they can't go to a Lawn Drive event and they see you at an exhibition and, you know, you hit a ball 400 yards. I mean, like 2 weeks ago, I was out in Vegas, straight downwind, the ground was hard. And first ball I hit was for CC Sabathia. He'll be a Hall of Famer with the New York Yankees and Indians. I hit it 440 yards for his group, you know, and he's like, damn, you know, so, but, and then it humbles you. So yesterday I did an event where I could barely hit it 300 yards. We're in Florida, directly into a headwind. The ball like lands and goes backwards, but I think my favorite golf story might have been with you guys. One of them, you know.
We will get to that a bit later. That is in the schedule. But what everyone must ask is, what's your longest drive? You just said you hit one downwind, which obviously helps. But what is your longest drive outside of comp and in comp?
Well, in competition, the farthest drive I hit was 465 yards at the 2014 World Championships. That was it was downwind that day. Ground was nice and hard. I had to hit it 463 yards just to advance. And I ended up going 465, and my buddy Will went 469, Will Hogue. And Houston Hare, just imagine being eliminated from the World Championships hitting at 462 yards. Yeah, so Houston got knocked out of that.
Filthy.
But you know, I think I got in the Lawn Drive time, like when you had Zubak, Pfister, Pavlet, like you still had like the OGs of Lawn Drive still competing. And I feel like I've hit for against like all the best in the world over the last, you know, however many years. I mean, it would be my 19th season coming up. I've competed against the best in the business, and you know, guys like Berkshire, you just watch them hit. I could watch Berkshire and guys like Jamie Sadlowski hit golf balls all day, you know, and even a guy, Eddie Fernandez, who's 54 years old, that puts up 220 ball speed, which is just ridiculous. He's got 3 senior world titles. So
that's crazy. So as you mentioned, we have played some golf together, and we did play a round in, I think it was early February last year. Is my 4-iron at True North still the most pure shot you've ever seen?
You got, yeah. I think we got a tattoo. Did we get a tattoo because of that? I think we did.
We woke up one morning and got tattoos.
We did. That was an interesting day. I was supposed to be in California doing an event that I did last week. Right. It got rained out. It was like 100% chance of rain with, you know, like 7 inches, and I still flew out to LA, but they canceled it and got to see you boys and play True North, and we had some fun that day, and we got some tattoos as well.
Very random, but that is a true story.
Now, tell us, Bobby, Long Drive equipment, is it still progressing? Has it reached its peak? Is it all marketing? Where are we at with equipment?
I think the heads are a lot more durable. The heads are a lot better for off center strikes, but a lot of people don't understand, like lawn drivers, they just assume that all the shit that we hit's illegal. We're using USGA conforming clubs, and like the shaft that we're playing right now is a 46-inch raw. A lot of the guys are hitting either Patterson or TPT and Acra shafts. A lot of them are going now to more of a Tour Series setup where they don't butt cut it or tip the shaft. It's just in raw, and then and long drives, which is good. You got to put it in raw, at 48 inches. Yeah, maybe that's a U.S. term that you guys would understand. Maybe you don't understand. Language barrier, good for you. Okay, there's women in there. So anyways, but yeah, it's everything is USGA conforming. I know that they have like the local rule of 46 inches, but long drive, we max it out at 48 inches. So, but yeah, like the shaft that I'm hitting is 190 CPM. It's like a super senior flex, like literally swinging on a noodle, and you have to be very patient at the top in order to, rip through the zone and try to keep balls in play. Granted, long drive, you don't have to be that accurate. You have to hit 1 out of 6 balls in play. And then if they have round robin formats, you could be a little off, as far as your accuracy goes. But the technology, like I said, the off center strikes are better, but the long drive heads are thicker. So at the end of the day, if you get a regular golfer that swings 70 to 110 miles per hour, they're going to actually diminish. They're not going to hit the ball as fast or as long with that, just because the face is thicker. So they have to do that. If not, they would be breaking heads left and right. But when I first got into long drive, my setup was more of like an 80-gram shaft that was like a 3 or 4X. Like you would be talking about CPM, cycles per minute, of 280 to 290, and now you're using 40-gram shafts. The grips weigh more than the actual shaft.
Yeah,
so
right.
like my grip is I have a 53-gram grip. I have a 40-gram shaft, and then a 195-gram head.
Yeah, I did have a chance to hit Matty Bomb's long drive driver the other week.
Yeah.
And it is definitely a different experience. But I hit my 4 or 5 longest balls I ever had. So I think I'm going to take up long drive.
You're the man, Dale. I've said it for years.
You should. You guys are studs.
Not that too many people are saying that, but so the world record long drive is by Kyle Berkshire. Do you reckon that will ever be broken?
Oh, I think he can break it again. That day was ridiculous. So we were filming with Michael Block in California, and I was looking at the weather. Like for me, doing all these exhibitions, I've done over 1,300 exhibitions. Like the weather is either your best friend or your worst nightmare. So for me, I was looking at the weather, and I was seeing that it was the weather patterns were changing as far as wind, and it was getting colder in Wyoming on the days that we wanted to go. So we kind of like hurried up and left California to fly out to Wyoming. And Kyle was adamant on hitting on this hole that was over 600 yards. And the more I looked at it, like the wind direction, I'm like, Kyle, like we're here. You're not going to hit it. You're not going to hit it 551. So Mike Dobbin is the record holder at 551 in a pro event. And I was like, we're going to have to find another spot. So what we did was that I was able to go and look around where a good spot would be based on where the wind was going to be coming the next day. And, it was on top of a green, and they're like, you know what? We don't care. Just if he messes up the green, it's all good. It's not that big of a deal. But the problem is that the landing area, he had to carry it. I think it was 483 yards to carry it just to get it to the fairway.
That's about 440 meters for the Australian people playing at home.
It's ridiculous. So I have to call up his coach, Bobby Peterson, who's an expert in ballistics. He's in the military, artillery, military, he's a ballistics major. Like we call him a mad scientist. And I go, all right, Bobby, we got a problem here, a math equation. We're at 6,600 feet. It's about 55, 60 degrees out. Wind's going to be coming 20 to 25 miles per hour, straight downwind. He's got to carry it 483. What are his numbers? And he goes, he's got to do this, and this. He's like, depending. And he's like, what ball are you using? I'm like, Pro V1 left dash. He goes, okay. He's like, you got to be at about 218 miles per hour ball speed on a center strike. And he goes, who's hitting? I'm like, Kyle. He goes, oh, fuck, he's got that. No problem. So I'm like 483 yards. So Kyle's hitting range balls. So we couldn't find Pro V1 left dashes. So we had to go and get ended up scooping up 108. So we didn't warm up with these golf balls. hitting range balls. And I don't think Kyle only hit like 2 out of like 50 that actually even got there. And I don't even think he got to like 515 yards. So the next day, me and Bobby are playing in a match together. And then I start seeing the weather coming in, and it was like an immediate like, hey, we need to hurry the fuck up. You know, like we need to go. We need to get Kyle out here. Who cares about media? Doesn't matter about the media. Just get him out here, because if he doesn't get this done in the next hour and a half, he's not going to break the record. He won't even come close. And, you know, it's media, but Kyle comes up and on the 8th ball just fucking rips it. He hits it 579 yards. And I think he could have gone 600. I think he could have gone 600 that day. The problem is that because we moved directions, he was hitting it into brush left that 100% would have gone past that. So right now he hit it 579.63, like 579.63. But it was the 8th ball. But we made it suspenseful, like, you know, on YouTube, that he hit it on like ball like 40 or 50, but he got it out of the way like right away. I mean, that kid's unbelievable. And not only that, we forgot to do product placement that day for the net return. So we're sitting in this clubhouse, and there's like an open space for the restaurant, like it's great steaks, by the way. Like it was a really good steakhouse in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming. And I asked the GM, I'm like, we have to do product placement. And I'm like, the carpet's like really nice. Like we have really, really nice carpet. I was like, can we hit balls inside that, inside here? And he's like, yeah, we'll just clear out tables. We'll bring everybody in. And then Kyle's like, well, can you guys turn up the heater to like 85 degrees? So we get in, they clear the deck. He gets loose, and people are sweating their ass off in this restaurant clubhouse. And Kyle is so close to breaking the ball speed record. And at the time it was like 240.6 from Seb Twiddell, who's an Australian guy, great big dude, good hitter. And Kyle eventually broke the ball speed record. He went 241.6, I think, that day, literally in a restaurant. You know, it was awesome.
So what is it that makes Kyle Berkshire so dominant? Apart from being able to swing it fast, why is he so good?
His mechanics are flawless. And I mean, he just gets to angles that other people can't get to. I mean, he sinks it up so well. And it's the crazy thing is that he could be not even say a lot faster. He can get to 250 ball speed. There's no doubt, but he doesn't care. I mean, his goal in 2019 was to eventually get to 240 ball speed. And when he got that, he kind of is like, all right, I'm good. I've proven my point. Cause a couple weeks later, he ended up winning the world championships. And he would even tell you, there's 128 hitters. Kyle didn't even hit good that week, and he ended up winning. That's how good he is. And not only that, me sitting in the booth being the announcer, his average ball speed was 7 miles per hour faster than anybody else in the tournament. It's fucking incredible. And the kid that was second fastest was Justin James, who's the second best hitter in the world. So,
right. Yep. Speaking of those big legends of long drive, who's the next big up and comer in long drive?
Jack Smith, Seb Twiddell. Jack came in second this year at Worlds. Sean Johnson's great too. I mean, Sean finished runner-up to Kyle in 2023, and then he ended up winning the World Championships. And then you have Colton Casto, Colton's really, really good. He's world number 1. He's young. I think him and Jack Smith are probably like 25, 26 years old. And Colton just hits like such a heavy golf ball, and he makes it look so easy. So, I would say Colton and Jack Smith, but
nice.
Colton's not a mystery anymore.
Yeah. You talked about being in the booth when Kyle won the World Championship. Now, you were electric in that commentary booth for World Long Drive. Are we going to see you back in there? We're going to hear more from you.
If I get the call, you know, I didn't get it last year. You know, we just like us, we're all entrepreneurs. You own multiple businesses and stuff. So I was doing other things with them that we were trying to work on together. It didn't work out, and I didn't get the phone call last year. But you know, I'm always open for that. Like it was so much fun with me and Mike Dobbin in the booth in 2021 when Bryson was out there, and we didn't have shit besides I had one monitor, and that was only for slot number 4, so I could read data. But then 2022 was awesome. But yeah, like when Bryson was on, we were like streaming live, and then I did it on purpose. Like everybody knows I did it on purpose. When I found out that they were streaming on Golf Channel and on Sky Sports through YouTube, I there was just a moment in time where me and Mike Dobbin were talking about what Bryson had to do in that moment in order to beat Kyle and Martin in that set. And he hit the exact shot that we talked about, and the guy fat fingered the number and put the wrong number up, which put Bryson in the lead. So Borgmeyer was in the lead at 416. Kyle was at like 403, and they put up 417, and Bryson, I think, hit at 406, but when 416 or 417 hit the board, I'm like, let's fucking go. And they were spamming. They were spamming so bad, and I'm like, are you not entertained? And I'm like, I don't even care. I'm not even getting paid to do this. So like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And the next morning, because my boys own the sport, so it's Bobby Peterson and Ryan Riesbeck at the time that own professional lawn drivers, and Bobby's got a big old country accent, and he's like, hey man, like we got a bunch of like emails and stuff. Like, how do we respond to this? And I go, listen, tell them I'm suspended for the rest of the year without pay. Just tell them that. And I apologize. Well, when I wasn't getting paid and that was the last event of the year, they're like, oh, this is genius. So that they put out a press release that they suspended me without pay, you know? So, and, but Bryson was the needle, really was. Yeah. And then the next year, 2022, he was a couple swings away from winning a world championship. And, look at him now. It's really nice to see, like, because you and I, we're kind of behind the scenes, and we get to meet a lot of really good people that people don't really know. They're like, oh, they're just, it's a media company. We're just going to talk with what we see like on cameras and what have you. And Bryson behind the scenes is the kid that you see now. Like, he's the man. He's a great dude. He's an awesome guy, and he deserves everything that he's earned over the last couple of years. And it's nice to see people really understand, who he is as a person. And he's crushing it, man. It's so much fun to watch him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. Tell us, where is World Long Drive at the moment? What can we look forward to seeing in the future from it?
Well, I think the hardest thing right now is they're trying to find like a big corporate sponsor that can really get behind this, and get more, eyeballs, more commercial eyeballs on it, and corporate sponsorships. I think that's where it's always been a little bit of a struggle. And for me, like in 2020, me and Jose Batista and my dad and a couple other of my close friends, we tried to acquire the sport and from NBC, and we put out a bid, and it ended up not working out. But the reason why I wanted the sport was for multiple reasons. I owned Royalty Sports, so I made my own putters and wedges strictly as giveaways to give away at charity events to people that made really large donations to charity. I wanted to give them something tangible. So I had Royalty Sports, then I had Winning Ticket, was my event management software platform, and then Golf Cloud was golf data, collecting golf data. So, and not only that, like all of us make our money in entertainment. So I felt like if I own the sport, I can have multiple businesses that can benefit from that, even if like the sport was essentially a loss leader where we didn't like necessarily make money, but like we had that platform where these guys could hit on a national and a world level and, showcase their talents. Cause that's essentially what everybody's done that's been successful in this sport is like, you have the world championship stage, the long drive stage, and then you go out and self-promote and, give yourself other opportunities to make money.
Yeah, that's it. So you did mention obviously the finances for these long drive guys. There isn't much money in the sport. They do basically do a lot of fund it themselves, but you do a lot of charity events. If you had to put a figure on how much money you've raised in your own long drive stuff, how much money would you have raised for charity?
Oh God. It's tens of millions over the year. Years. It's just, even with my software platform. And then the company that I founded, I know that they've done over literally $100 million of just revenue being generated, standing on a tee box, talking to people and raising money at charity events. So, and now like when I got into the business, when I started the business, it was the Wild West. I would pick up the phone, I would call an organization, or they would call me, and it was either they would say yes or no. And now it's like they got people shooting cannons, and you got, girls on par threes. They have other things going on the golf course, on-course fundraising. So the on-course fundraising business is a humongous business. It's just combined with like the 3 or 4 that I know that do extremely well. They're probably generating $30 to $40 million a year just in revenue, on the tee box, like raising money at charities. And, sometimes you'll get your corporate sponsorships that would come in and pay for entertainment fees. And the other times you'll get, you'll just work off percentage splits. But once you prove yourself, it's one of those gigs where they invite you back every single year. Like, you don't lose business. So that's how I was able to scale my business from 275 events the first year to the 5th year, we did 1,076 tournaments.
Jeez, that's just out of control, isn't it?
Crazy.
Oh, well done on raising that money. It's going to go to a great cause, all of those, I'm sure. One of our greatest memories with you, Bobby, is when you invited us to Trump International in West Palm Beach. Tell us about the memories of your day of playing alongside Donald Trump with the Golf Gods crew.
All right, so I get a phone call. I told you boys to show up. I was like, hey, show up at like 9 o'clock. The boss is going to be there between like 9:15 and 9:30, and the boss being Trump. And the GM calls me. Daryl's like, hey, your boys just showed up in untucked like Hawaiian shirts with flip-flops and a fucking film crew.
And he goes, slept from the night
the
before,
boss is going to be here. He's like, tell them to tuck in their fucking shirts, tell the film crew to leave. And he goes, tell them to go in the pro shop and spend like $1,000. So I call Dale. He answers. I'm like, hey, you got to go in the pro shop. Whatever. You guys, no film, no nothing. Just we're hanging out. So they go in and they buy mega hats, mega shirts, mega king, whatever it may be. And what people don't know, and that's the thing, like people are starting to see like, who Bryson is. Well, people don't know who Trump is behind the scenes either. And I'm like, what's he like? I'm like, he's the man. He's just a dude, and everybody knows, or he knows who's in his country club at like all times. So when he walks in, Secret Service tells him who's there, or Daryl and Sean and Dale they're a little nervous. We're eating breakfast in the grill room. It's just
my
us.
glass of water was absolutely shaking in my hand. It was unbelievable.
And then you start seeing Secret Service coming in. They start doing their walk around, perimeter. And then Trump walks in and he looks at Sean and Dale and he goes, I should have charged you guys a fucking VAT tax. Says nothing after that. Says nothing.
He did say we were the best looking blokes in the room, though.
He did.
It was so fun. Well, here, we're going to get to that. But yeah, it was, well, that was the second time around. So he sits down and he's doing work. Yeah. And doesn't say anything to Sean and Dale. Then we go out and we literally play the Trump 9, which no one knows about, which is like the course behind the course.
Yep.
And we go and we play our 27 holes at Trump. And then we sit back down for lunch. And then eventually the boss comes over, puts his hands, like, some good looking guys here. How you been? You're from Australia. How long you in town for? And you guys were going to the Players Championship. And, he gave his undivided attention to you guys for however long. And then he ends up taking pictures, and he's just a good dude. But yeah, it was so funny because like I was telling Sean, I'm like, dude, he's messing with you. He's just joking about this VAT tax. I'm like, but it was awesome, and now it's like the people that have gone and had that experience, they love the guy. He's the man. Like it's just, I've been very fortunate to be at that country club at corporate and charity events where I got to, perform for him and then, see him a bunch. And the last time we were all hanging out, it was Bryson and Kai Trump and Kyle. And they had a match against each other, and Bryson casually shot a 63 that day. It was ridiculous how good he played. And it didn't even look, I'm like, what do you shoot, 63? They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, good. So, but they tied. Kyle and Trump tied him.
Sorry, you mentioned hitting balls for Donald Trump. So how did that come about? How did you get connected to him to hit some golf balls for him? I've seen the video online.
Well, we were the GOP. The women had a GOP event, or like a Republican event down at Doral, and they were using a tech company, and they like shut it down. The tech company shut it down, like them taking registration. And one of my friends was director of sales at Doral, and she's like, hey, can we use your software platform? So I'm like, yeah, sure. And then PGA Memes, they were using my software up at Bedminster and other places. And Daryl, who's the GM, said like, hey, President's on number 9, I'll introduce you. Because when I was speaking to Daryl a week before that, he was saying that the president of Trump Golf was going to be there. His name's Larry Glick. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And he's like, have you ever met him? I'm like, no, I haven't met him. So I thought I was meeting Larry Glick, and I had my back turned to the cart path. And that's when Daryl's like, Mr. President, this is Bobby Bradley. He's a long drive champion. And I turn around and I look at Trump, and I look back at Daryl, and I was like, oh, I thought you were talking about Larry Glick, not the fucking president of the United States. So I said it just like that. And Trump's like, you're a long drive champion? And I'm like, no, but in my mom's eyes I am, and that's all that matters, right? And he goes, He's like, so are you in long drive? I'm like, yeah, no, I've been doing it the last, however many years. Like at that time, it was 2021. It was right when he got out of office. And we literally had just normal conversation. Where are you from? I'm like, I'm from here. And probably about 5 minutes into it, he's like, I had Bryson here last week and he was like hitting the crap out of it. He's hitting a ton. He's like, can you hit it farther than Bryson? And then I did say I could say it on your podcast. Like, I'll blow his fucking doors off. I just said it yeah. And he looks at me dead in the eyes. And he's like, are you loose? Are you loose? And I go, yeah, I was ripping 2 irons on the range. Yeah, I feel pretty good. Yeah. And he goes, well, go get your driver. I go, okay. He goes, I want to see if you can hit the 17th green from here. And we're on the backside of the property. And since you guys have been there, it was right by this clock tower, and the grass is mint condition. And I look and I'm like, well, how far is it? And some guy randomly just goes, it's 411. And I go, I can't hit it 411. And he goes, I don't give a shit. Go get your driver. So I end up running across on the backside or on the other side of the property to go get my cart. And when I got in the cart, it was my left leg. My left leg was shaking so bad. I had so much adrenaline in my body. And I'm like, say being a pitcher, playing poker, raising money, you got to be able to read people right away. And I'm like, this dude's calling me out. I'm like, he's fucking calling me out right now. And as I drive up to him, he's standing like this, just waiting for me. And as I get closer, he goes, Daryl, get on the microphone and tell everybody that Bobby's going to be hitting for me and trying to hit the 17th green from here, And Daryl gets on the microphone, and it was people coming out of the fucking woodworks. They were coming off the green, the damn toilets, the country club, and the range, and everybody starts pulling out their phone because they see Trump. And then the funny part is, he's like, hey, I want you to hit on this side of the cart path because I don't want you to hit the curb. And I go, okay. So I go on the other side of the cart path, but the grass is kind of thick and it's long. And the tee that I was using, it's pretty hard to put the ball in the tee, especially if you're nervous. So it's the tornado tees, but we use tee claws now, so it's a lot easier in the turf. But I try to put the ball in. He's like, I don't think I can get the ball in. He goes, why are you nervous? And I go, no, you just fucking called me out. So I'm in entertainer mode right now, And I go, can we just move all these carts back here, please? Just so I can at least put the ball in the tee. And psychologically, it's 411 yards. We're in Florida. Granted, it's downwind. It's a little downhill. I'm like, there's no way that I can hit it 411 yards. So there's no reason for me to try to just swing out of my ass. Just have a nice controlled swing, what have you. But I had so much adrenaline. So the first ball I hit, I center punched it, and it was right at the pin it was about 3 yards right of the pin. You just barely right of it, on a straight line. And then you see the video and they're talking and they're like, it hit the green. And I'm like, it didn't hit the green. There's no way it hit the green,
I think you did.
Did he make it there?
Yeah,
I think he did.
Fucking good too.
You know what? You're on the green. It's 411.
So I don't think I can hit it 411.
All right,
That was the first
ripped
thing.
it. That was not a bad warm up. No, pretty good throw.
And right before I hit the second shot, you'll hear the people saying, hold up, hold up. Well, that was the maintenance guy.
Hold on.
He was on the green, doing maintenance on the green, and we found out that it was 355 yards. I almost hit his maintenance cart, and he goes, hey, if this dude's trying to hit the green, he almost hit me, please tell him to stop and wait for me to get off. So when you hear it right before I pull the trigger on the second one, I hear it, and I just swing, and I hit another one, and I hit it just a little left of the pin, and it bounced and went into the water over the backside.
There it is.
Oh,
good night. I gotta tell you, I don't want to see any more. You can't do better.
I'm on steroids, by the way. Can I get a pic? Shit.
And that's when Trump's like, oh, you couldn't hit that any better. He's like, you're done. Or whatever he says, you're done. You can't do any better than that. And I genuinely couldn't have done any better. And I just I was like, can I get a pic? Shit. And I was like, hey, thank you for everything that you've done for our country, yada, yada, yada. And he was just like, he kept saying, you hit the crap out of that ball. You hit the crap. That was unbelievable. Hit the crap out of that. So every time I gave him a compliment, he just acted like I didn't give him a compliment. So.
Very great story. We will play that video. We'll find it up on your Instagram. So moving on to social media, you have sort of got a couple of pages. Long Drivers. When did you start that? 2021 or 2?
No, we started it in 2018. Like, it was right before Worlds. There was a bunch of us on like a big thread, and we just thought that we could do a good job of like promoting the hitters, like doing a better, like just promote the hitters more. And then we were in China, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start posting other things. Like, I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I watch, I look up to you boys. I look up to you boys. But you watch, accounts like yours and PGA memes and then other accounts like and what made them successful. So I was like, you know what? Like, I think people are going to get bored of watching, a bunch of lawn drivers hit golf balls. And I think it was just like one video where I posted a girl that hit it like 4 feet, and it got like, that was my first like video, it got like 1 million views. And then progressively as time went on, you kind of just like look at your analytics and you kind of make changes to
what works,
to what the audience is looking for, and that's the beauty of having an account like ours, is that we can sit there and make mistakes all day. And it's like, well, we can post in 2 hours from now. It doesn't even matter, so you can kind of figure out what works and what doesn't work. And that count is like, really, it's got me a lot of business, over the years, whether it was through software or whether it's for entertainment. Yep. And, we've kept our faces off there a bunch, so, but yeah, it's like when you tell someone, it's like, oh, like, we're the golf gods guys. They're like, oh man, and then you say, yeah. And then he's like, oh, I run the lawn drivers account. And then people are like, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm like, I know, it's great. So, but yeah, that account's been a lot of fun. And then, obviously you go on my personal page and you see it's me and Little Man, It's me and Little Man who's got his headphones on. He's got his noise canceling headphones on, by the way. He's such a good kid. I'm so proud of him. But yeah, it's been that social media has been fun. It really has. It brings out our personalities, and I think people enjoy laughing and having a good time and having a place where they can go and know that it might put a smile on their face. It might affect one person for the day. It might make their day better. You never know. So that's really what that account's about.
Definitely. Well, you've also branched out and you've got the Bombers Club as well. So what direction's that going, and what can we look forward to seeing from the Bombers Club in the next 12 months?
Well, right now it's just a matter of trying to get all of us together. It's been us flying all over the place. It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible for us to get together. But if we move forward with it, I think that there was a couple of things that I really enjoyed that I thought that people would really like was when Kyle and I and Bobby Ray were doing the speed sessions with the athletes and watching them, progress with ball speed, what have you, and then playing with other celebrities. But I thought that was pretty cool to be able to sit with like high-end professional athletes or even professional golfers, and they would do these speed sessions and get better. But, for right now, it's just everybody's kind of staying in their own lane, like doing whatever they have to do in order to make some money. But, 8 a.m. Golf's been a great partner. I mean, they were successful at everything that they touch. But, I think a lot of it just has to do with logistics. It's kind of been difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you haven't checked out Long Drivers on Instagram, TikTok, and probably Facebook, go check it out. The Bombers Club is on all social medias, but mainly a YouTube channel. That has definitely some entertainment there. Obviously, YouTube golf has just absolutely blown up in the last few years. Where do you see it going with YouTube? Do you see it just continue to grow, or do you think it's peaked? Well, I mean, for me, there's a lot of talented people out there, and for me, watching Garrett Clark. Funny enough, I started Royalty, and this kid, reaches out to me. He's like, hey, I'd like to be sponsored by you. And it was Garrett Clark, and he had 20,000 followers. And first time I talked to him, he asked for like $3,000 for a post. I'm like, dude, you got 20,000 followers. I'm selling putters that like the kids that are falling are never gonna buy. I'm like, how old are you? He's like, oh, I'm 17. I'm like, put me on the phone with your dad, So I get on the phone with Jerry. And his dad, who's in the finance wealth management space. And I felt like I was on well, you don't have the show Shark Tank in Australia. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I felt like I was on Shark Tank. He's asking me all these questions about burn rates and like whatever. I'm like, Jerry, listen, yeah, but I like your kid. I'm just going to give him money just to give him money, but I'm not giving him $3,000 for a post. I'll give him everything that I own, whatever with this business, what have you. And I'm flying out to Kansas City, and that day that I fly to Kansas City was the day that he's on ESPN where he does his 15 blocks and it hits the ball in the hole. It's unbelievable. And he goes from 20,000 followers to like 75,000 followers within like 48 hours. And then the rest is history. And I sat there and I was there when he started Bro 5 and good, what have you. And, my doors were always open. If he needed a place to stay, it was great. So it was really fun to watch those kids grow and other people come into the golf space. And what Bryson's doing right now is just on another level. I mean, it's
It's fun to watch, and I wish, I wish the PGA Tour would allow these players to go out and actually show their personalities, and that was one of the reasons why I think it was a good jump for some of these athletes to go over to LIV. One, because they were getting guaranteed contracts, and similar to professional athletes in the United States as well. And not only that, showcase your talent, showcase your personalities and stuff, because you don't really get much out of the tour besides them sitting in front of a microphone getting interviewed.
Yep.
So I think that was huge, and we'll see what happens with if they ever do a merger. But I think what LIV has allowed these players to do is opened up the golf game tremendously, and at the end of the day too, when we started Bombers Club, it was called Bombers and Bombshells.
That's right.
And and that was a lot of it had to do with the amount of eyeballs that were getting on women's golf. And we had Hannah and Gabby, both professional golfers, and Mackenzie Graham was younger, but she was really good at golf and beauty pageant and looked the part, act the part, play the part, a pro's pro. And I felt like we had a really good core team there. And but just in due time with negotiations with 8am Golf and we just ended up changing the name to Bombers Club. But I think that the girls, a lot of people enjoy watching the girls play golf, and there's a couple other golf girl games now. They're doing well. So I think YouTube has brought a lot more people into play, and people that you're just kind of like your casual golfers that want to get better. Like people want to follow those journeys that they might be, they might specialize in a different sport, and it might be their second sport that they thrive in.
Yeah, I remember Garrett when he was about 14 sending us trick shots to be posted on Golf Gods, and the way how far he's come is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Moving on from there, get a bit more personal stuff. One of the things I find really fascinating about yourself, Bobby, is the amount of Peloton rides you're doing and the intermittent fasting you've done. Quickly, do you want to give the followers at home a bit a review on what you're doing with Peloton and how many rides you've done?
So, all right, the story goes, Kyle Berkshire broke the ball speed record. He was the first one to ever go 230. So he went 230 miles per hour. He was 193 pounds. And my good friend Rob Oristaglio, who is a senior competitor, he's ranked third in the world, I believe, second or third in the world in the senior division. He's a world-class trainer, nutritionist, all the above. He's got every certification known to man. And Rob was there as well when Kyle broke the ball speed record. And we were at dinner one night at his house, and we were talking about how Kyle only weighed 193 pounds when he did that. And I was like, you know what's funny? The fastest I ever threw a baseball and swung a golf club, I was 190 pounds. And that day, granted, I had all my clothes on. He's like, well, how much do you weigh? And I was like, I don't know. So I go on the scale, and I was 228 pounds. So I was 228, and I don't know what that is. It's about, 102, 103 kilograms? Is that about right? Somewhere in there?
110, 114 kilos.
I was like, yeah, I'd like to get down to 190. What do I need to do? I was like, I'll just go straight psycho mode. I was like, tell me what I need to do. I want to lose as much weight as I can in 6 months. So I started intermittent fasting, where I started eating at 1 o'clock and then stopping at 7, no bread, and essentially just ate protein. I was like just eating protein nonstop. And he's like, you need to have your heart rate at a consistent rate when you work out. And I decided just to do it on the Peloton because I felt like it was easier. So I started interval training on the Peloton, where I could try to keep my heart rate at an average of 145 to 150 over 30 minutes.
Yep.
And it took about 3 weeks for my weight to start falling off. And then I've done the same thing since, January 4th of 2020. I haven't changed. I intermittent fast. Practically every single day. It's almost impossible if you're traveling all the time. But when I'm home, I've stuck to that routine, and I feel great. I'm not, like I said, not a spring chicken. I'm 43 right now, but I feel good. I've stayed 180 pounds, for a long time.
Yep, you're looking good too.
Yeah, I got to stay good. I got to still look good for the ladies. Unfortunately, I'm a single father. Ladies, if you're watching
That's
this.
it. There's Australian ladies away.
Feel bad for me, ladies. Slide into my DMs. I'm really nice.
Mate, you're sitting there with the CEO. We see on the weekends he wakes up at 4:30, bench presses houses, he's doing it all. Is he going to be a golfer, or is he going to be a baseballer?
Right now, I want him to play every single sport, just to work on the sequencing of his lower half and what have you. But he loves baseball. It would be kind of cool to watch him, play baseball. And I don't right now. There's no need to have any pressure on a 7-year-old, and it's crazy now. Like these parents, they always talk about the parents are nuts. And they really, truly are. I'm I'm coaching. And the good thing is like when you own businesses and you work with all different types of personalities, you kind of know how to work with all different types of personalities. And the parents were easy. like I had one parent couple, they just kept fucking yapping. Like this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And I walked up to him and I'm like, have you guys made millions of dollars playing baseball? And they're like, huh? And I was like, have you guys made millions of dollars playing baseball? They go, no. I was like, I have. And then I turned around. I never told anybody that I was coaching. I was coaching that I played professional baseball because no one gives a shit. Like all they care about is their kid. And the funny thing is that we had 3 professionals. One coach won a World Series, Brad Peacock, and then another kid played pro ball. But our team was like loaded with coaches, that these parents didn't know. But, I was just like joking around talking shit. But like for me, like I didn't want him to play all-stars. Like he will eventually, but right now it's about just having fun and working on his mechanics and keeping it very simplistic for him right now. And you can just tell like he's really gravitating, he's towards baseball. And we played catch today. That's why I was 30 minutes late. I had to go outside. We had to go play catch. I had to ride the bike. We had to throw some balls and he actually, Sean, he wakes up at 4:15 in the morning, not 4:30. He wakes up 4:15.
Oh, sorry.
Well, we do love seeing his videos. His swing and his baseball hit is unbelievable. So we'll run some B-roll footage of the young CEO. Look out for him. One last question for you. Are you coming to Australia for Live Golf in Feb? The Australian ladies need you over here.
I have to. Because you got Waste Management, I think is...
Week after.
Isn't it the week before?
Week after, I think.
Oh, the Waste Management is the week after?
No, it's the week before. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect opportunity for you guys to come back out to Scottsdale. And then us, I just hop on a plane back with you guys to Australia.
Oh, well, we've got the bed waiting for you, Bobby. But thank you very much for taking your time to sit down with us on the Teabaggers podcast. You're the very first guest we've had. We'll look out for that coming out. So big wrap. Thank you, Bobby. The family at home, keep an eye out for Bobby coming out to Australia, and watch out, ladies.
Sean Dale, it's an absolute honor. I'm proud of you boys. You've built an amazing business. And I'll just say this. I'm going to brag about you guys. Working with you guys is it's the easiest 2 guys to ever work with in business. And that's the way business should be run. Yep. So whoever's listening to this and works with them, you got good guys that have your best interests. So yeah, good. Congrats on your success.
Thanks, Bobby. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir.